and welcome to the Lincolnshire Buzzcast, a podcast that covers everything Lincolnshire, as well as talking to some fantastic people who are doing some fantastic things in the county. I'm Lizzie.
And I'm Hannah.
And I'm Will.
Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Lincolnshire Buzzcast. Have you guys made any New Year's resolutions?
Oh, see, I think I'm a bit like you, Lizzie. I don't tend to make solid resolutions. I just kind of point myself in the right direction. So it's I'm going to be more healthy. I'm going to make better choices. I'm certainly not going to be eating dust. I'm certainly not going to be torturing myself because life's too short to not eat cake and chocolate. And I think Will said it earlier when we were just chatting amongst ourselves that he said, you've got to eat things that you enjoy. If you like it, then
Absolutely,
go for it. But everything sort of in moderation, isn't it, Will?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's not sustainable otherwise.
Exactly.
If you suddenly go from like eating what you want in 2021 to like eating grass in 2022, it's just not doable, is it? Really, it's not. But you've got to weigh up what you enjoy. And I always think like you've got to have like 1 or 2, 3 days treat days, and then you could do you've got 7 days in a week. Like you could do like 5 days healthy, 2 days off. Like
exactly.
That's what weekends are for.
Yeah, that's called it's a weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm going to do instead of just sort of snacking and binging and doing it throughout. Yeah. I need to just curb it a little bit in terms of my own health and well-being. That I just need to take a bit more control back. So that's kind of my resolution, if that counts as a resolution.
I think it counts as a resolution. It's a healthier resolution, definitely, than rather. I used to make one every year to be like, I'm going to be a size 10 this year. Yeah. It doesn't happen. Don't actually think I'm physically capable of being a size 10 anymore. I was a size 10 when I was 15, and I don't think I can get back to that. Like I don't think my bones are too wide, if that's a thing. I don't know.
Yes.
I have no medical knowledge.
It's a genuine thing. It's a genuine. It is a genuine thing.
It is.
No medical knowledge. I don't know if that's coming across. But I do know don't eat grass. That's That's definitely the thing.
Or yellow snow. Don't eat yellow snow.
Dogs pee on grass and snows. That's right. So don't do that. But yes, I always used to do that, and I don't anymore because that's not a healthy, really resolution. Because you only serve to disappoint yourself year on year. You make it, you disappoint yourself. You make it, disappoint yourself. Which is why I put a mental ban on doing those ones. So again, like you, mine is I'm going to eat healthier is my resolution, or be healthier. So this time next year, I want to be a healthier version of myself. So That's not a specific guideline. That's not I need to be this specific weight that I'm not. That's not I need to be able to have this certain level of fitness. I just want to be in a healthier position this time next year.
Absolutely.
Throughout all of it, which is a better one. It's less pressure on myself, and I'm much more likely to keep it, quite frankly, as a result. What about you, Will?
A bit like Hannah. I never really set myself resolutions. I think this year I'd like to visit more places.
It's a great one.
Yeah, because I feel like we've gone through COVID, and I feel like couldn't do a lot. So I think every other month I'm going to try and do something and visit somewhere. So in February, I've booked somewhere to go in London. So just as a little, I think you need little things to look forward to. You know what I mean? Just keeps you spurs you on, motivation. Because January could be a bit bleak and a bit it's very bleak. But
soggy. Soggy is a word I would use to describe January.
Soggy and foggy, isn't it really?
Yeah.
But as we get towards April, it's getting really nice. So I think we should just I don't know. I think visit more places, definitely. Hopefully go abroad. I was talking to you guys about a wedding potentially in the summer. So hopefully COVID doesn't.
Not Will's wedding. Not Will's wedding.
No.
We won't go into detail.
We won't. That's not happening yet.
What a way to tell a Will. What a way to tell a Will.
Hope stop listening to this.
Just part of the room.
That's it.
Yeah, it's just putting her off the scent.
I was going to say, I won't tell her where to find it on Spotify, but there we go.
I think that's a good one, Will, actually. To be fair, you'll be proud of me, Will. I have booked for the first time ever. I've been skiing for years and years and years, and I used to work in the ski industry. And then obviously COVID happened, and I've moved out to Lincolnshire where there's no hills, so you can't just strap your skis on and hope.
There are hills in Lincoln. We'll cover this later, but there are hills in Lincoln.
But I have booked my first ever UK ski trip this year.
Where are you going?
How does that work? Do we not have snow here?
We do, in Scotland. There are skiing resorts, actual skiing resorts, believe it or not.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
I thought if you wanted to ski, you had to go to like France and Italy.
No, we're gonna head up to Aviemore, around that area, around Aviemore area, in early March. So the snow should be still quite reliable. Should we get so as long as it don't carry on being as mild as it is now. Otherwise, it will be grass skiing. But yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that. So like you say, well, it's that nice thing, isn't it? In January, book something in, and you've got something to look forward to. So that's my early March treat.
Yes, then.
I have 2 holidays booked in so far, which I'm quite excited about. We're going to Wales to see Johnny's dad, which we haven't been seeing for ages, like, because obviously COVID and that, and you know, Wales have different rules and things to us as well, so actually matching up when we can travel and when they can travel was quite hard last year, so it didn't really happen. And Johnny's family had a really tough year last year for many reasons, so actually it's very much important that we go down there and see his dad anyway. So but just having that in, then we're going to go with his brothers and sisters. We've got a little like Airbnb rental that we've got together, which is really nice. It's got a big grounds to it as well. It's got a little tree house in the grounds that's called, and that's named Johnny's house, because obviously that must you lived there before, and I was like, that's where you can live, Johnny, which would be really nice. And then we're going to go on a nice, we've also planned a nice little camping trip to Whitby with our friends. So like there's a bunch of us that are all going together and have our tents up and stuff, which again is really nice. It's quite nice to go camping with friends. But I might steal yours, Will, actually, because about a couple of years ago, I didn't make a New Year's resolution, but I did decide that we were going to do more travelling in England, like and see like some of it, because we've got some beautiful historical sites. We've had Heritage Lincolnshire on this podcast a few times to talk about the ones over here, but across the country, we've got some beautiful spots of historical locations. And I just think I myself and also my kids haven't really seen any of them. And I think before like we start like traveling in other countries, it's really important to investigate where we're from and have all that kind of stuff. So I had you reminded me when you did that, I had actually made a little pledge to myself and wrote a little like list down of things that we can go do, and then I can't remember what happened to it. It might have been COVID, I might have just forgotten. But I remembered how excited I was about that when you were talking, Will, so I think I'm going to pick that back up again. I'm going to see where I wrote that list. I'm not quite sure where it was. Do it. Pick it back up again and try and visit some key landmarks in England.
So we're in agreement then that we're all stealing each other's resolutions.
That's why I stepped on my own, That's why I never set them.
Don't set them because people steal them.
Yeah.
Well, we hope maybe we've inspired some other people as well, which would be quite nice. But if you have set something, do let us know, mainly because we'd like to maybe steal yours as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Don't want to give ourselves too much to do, but, little ones here.
Yeah, nothing too hard.
We're going to go with fitness fads, and I presume that a lot of people who are potentially listening to this now, they've been signing up to gyms or signing up to new fitness classes and trying out new activities and things like that. I know I certainly am. I have signed up to a cricket club.
Ooh.
Oh,
nice.
I have signed up. My first session is going to be on Monday. So watch this space. I will give you an update that I'm going to visit. It's going to be softball first because it's indoor, because it's wet and soggy. It's foggy outside.
Wet, soggy and foggy.
Yeah. So it's a bit manky outside. So I have signed up to cricket. But when I was researching, I thought, what is it that everybody does because they think it's going to give them that quick fix? And I don't know if you remember, Will, obviously because you were only born last week.
Yeah. Lincoln County Hospital. Yeah.
I don't know of you remember the fad of spinning.
Spinning. Yeah.
I mean, spinning is still going
It's
now.
still very much a thing.
Yeah, there's still spinning classes. But I remember, it must have been early 10s? What do we call them? Early 2010s?
I don't know,
Yeah.
What?
Early 10s.
Early
10s.
Early 10s?
I don't know what the lingo for that is.
So in the early 10s, I remember...
Sounds weird.
It does, doesn't it? I remember spinning was everywhere. Every gym fitness class board was packed with spinning, and then there'd just be like a boot camp or an aerobics just sort of thrown in between, where it seems to have calmed down a little bit. It's a little bit more even now that you can pick and choose. But why? Why was spinning such a fad? Is it, do we think, because people could just get that quick, that they felt like, do you know what, I am absolutely working myself to death, because it is, isn't it? It's like a boot camp on a bike.
I was going to say, it's the one where you exercise bike, isn't it? I've never been to a spinning class.
I've been to one spinning class, and it is hell on a bike.
It's hard. You can dance.
Yeah. Is that the one you can do the dance
Yeah, you
on?
dance,
Have like little neons into the...
You come on to like the front, don't you, almost, and like hover over the front, and then like sometimes you're on your back, and it's weird, yeah. Weird routines going on.
I've got visions of Will just laid on a saddle on his back.
I always start my gym session on the bike. However, this is how lazy I am. I pick the sit down, like the one with the backrest.
Do you have your legs up here?
Yeah.
Is it the one where you have your legs up there? Yeah.
No. It's still at normal.
It's got a normal bike.
No, it is a bit far forward actually. Yeah, it is. With the backrest, because I don't like to be so high up in the gym. I don't like to. I feel like I'm more on display if I'm on a proper bike, whereas I feel like a little bit more hidden on the seat bike. And also, I am lazy, so it is a nice little easy start for me to like get going.
I genuinely do think that cycling in terms of a warm up is quite a good warm up. It's a good pulse raiser, but
I couldn't do a full hour
spinning session is hell on earth, and I honestly, I don't know where it just came out of nowhere, didn't it, spinning?
Yeah. I mean...
And having someone just screaming at me while I'm on a bike, I mean, being on a bike and having changing resistance is bad enough anyway. Never mind when someone's screaming at you, saying, lean forward, lean forward.
I think to give the benefit of the other side, because a lot of cyclists that we do like, it's not, exercise is always about finding the exercise that you enjoy, and for a lot of people, the spinning is definitely their go-to thing to keep fit, which is great. So we're not dissing those that really enjoy it.
Not
be very clear.
Cycling itself, like I love getting on my bike and going out because Lincolnshire's flat.
Where you live,
where I live in Mordor, Lincolnshire is very, very flat. But I do love going out on my bike. I genuinely do love cycling, but I just don't know where spinning came from. It literally came out of nowhere.
I don't know. You see it on the adverts as well a lot, don't you? As well, and but it's good. Like it's very effective. Like you literally only need 30 minutes, and then you're absolutely sweating.
Oh.
Well, it's a good job because I won't be able to. Like I struggle 10 minutes on the bike in the gym, so I don't know.
30 minutes, high intense. I suppose that's
know how they're doing it.
I suppose that's what came out of spinning, isn't it? These high intensity, the HIIT sessions is what's come out of it, isn't it?
So I'm guessing. If you're in a class and someone's G'ing up, like no one at the gym is telling me to carry on, like I'm like, I've made 10 minutes, I can stop now. Like no one sat there going, no, do another 10.
Don't sit down.
They were, I might, like so I guess there is that, and everyone behind us, I'd say everyone around you is probably dying as well. I don't know, like people are much fitter than me.
It's hard. It's definitely hard.
Very hard.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
Probably the hardest class I've ever been to.
Yeah, steel afterwards though. So
your thighs and your bum afterwards. Mine were but not because of the saddle. Like my bum cheeks actually were throbbing. Yeah.
And like you don't want to sit down though because the seat is really narrow, isn't it? So there's a reason why you stand almost on the bike when you're pedaling, because you do not want to sit down. It's really tight. So
it's like sitting on a toothpick.
That's how they con you into standing up, is it? Make it
that's what it is. You see, you don't want to sit down, so I've got no choice.
Every time you try and sit down, your bum goes no.
Getting closer and closer. No, go back up.
That's where I'm going wrong. My seats are far too comfortable.
That's exactly it. Right. So maybe that is why spinning has succeeded so well, because it forces you to stand up, because otherwise your bum cheeks are in agony. So you just plow on. Yeah. Fantastic. High intensity sessions. Get yourself down to a spinning class.
Just keep moving your legs, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Just keep moving.
Amazing. Well, let's lower down the pace for a little bit and let's look at some Lincolnshire-based news in local news. LOCAL. Local news.
What are you tantalising us with today, Elizabeth?
Well, obviously this segment, there's a lot of news in the area and it's not all brilliant, but this segment is all about cheering you up a little bit and giving you something nice to reflect on. So I scrolled through the local news sites to find something amazing from I was about to say a little town, it's not that little, but a place called Grimsby. Which is in Lincolnshire and near Hannah. So this is a beautiful, heartwarming story about a seal rescue that happened in Lincolnshire. And there are some great pictures. I'll link to it in the podcast. But this seal had gone for a little walk down Grimsby, just appeared and was found outside a solicitor's office. So the solicitors are actually solicitors that we are partners with at Lincoln City. So Wilkin and Chapman. So he was found outside Wilkin and Chapman, which is on Chantry Lane, just wandering the streets in the early hours of Thursday morning. It'd been an hard night on Wednesday. He'd been out piping with his seal friends. Doing the walk of shame. I don't know what he was doing, or if in fact it was a he, because the gender isn't noted in this article.
Okay.
However, so he was walking along. The sanctuaries were not open at that time, and it was too dangerous to leave the seal. So as a result, Cleethorpes Wildlife Rescue took the seal back with the team until a more suitable long-term sanctuary could be arranged. So it's a beautiful, heartwarming story. There's some fantastic pictures of this seal outside near a little car, like, "Hi guys," and then in the car with someone else, like all cuddling up to someone. I mean, it's adorable. It's a little tiny baby seal as well, so it's really cute.
How on earth did he get there?
I've got no idea. But it's a lovely happy ending. He was safely delivered to Mablethorpe Seal Sanctuary, and is in great hands and is recovering well after his little Grimsby adventure. I don't know why he was going to solicitors, maybe to get some advice.
I don't know. Seal rights? Do they have seal rights?
Who knows?
That's an epic trek, though. That is quite an epic trek. If it's the Wilkin and Chapman that I think it is in Grimsby, that is quite a trek for a little seal as well.
Very much so.
But
yes, but obviously he's with the Seal Sanctuary now, who gave him a nice little shout out. They are a charity, so feel free to throw them some dollar if you like the sound of the stories, and make sure that seal gets happily looked after. But I'm sure it is right now. So there's a nice little plea at the end of this article to go and help out that sanctuary. But it's great, honestly. Some fantastic pictures where you just look. I think he's in a car park in these pictures, and he's just hanging about near some leaves, like, "Hey guys, like this is where he always is."
And on another note, if this seal can actually run that far, why don't we get him signed up for the Lincoln City Half Marathon?
Exactly.
Well, Hannah, that was the most beautiful and most professional segue I've ever seen into our next guest. So now we're ready to welcome our special guest today, and we are very excited for this special guest because she is somewhat of a local celebrity in the Lincoln area. You'll see her face actually plastered on the wall. She's that much of a big deal. She's what we like to call the face of the foundation because she's pretty much in every picture, putting her thumbs up. So welcome to the podcast, our head of Healthier Communities, Alice Carter. Welcome, Alice. I expect the listener figures to shoot up, in their droves when we announce that you're on it.
I'm doing a thumbs up, and you can't see them. I'm doing a thumbs up.
And she's dying of embarrassment throughout that entire intro, which was brilliant. So Alice is coming on today to talk to us about the Lincoln City Half Marathon, which is obviously an event that we are running from the foundation side of it. But just for the sake of this interview, me, Hannah and Will are going to pretend like we don't know anything about the half marathon when we grill Alice about it. So First things first, Alice, what is the Lincoln City Half Marathon? It sounds obvious, but you never know.
Yeah. So the Lincoln City Half Marathon is primarily a running event, but obviously people can also walk if they want to. That is taking place in Lincoln. We're working closely with our partners, Curly's Athletes, who are very experienced in delivering running events across sort of the East Midlands region. And together we're going to bring the event back to the city. I think I've spoken to people as we've been planning this event, and there was half marathon that took place in Lincoln a long time ago, and then relatively fairly recently someone tried to bring it back, and then it kind of disappeared again. So we know that there's an appetite in the city for an event like this, and we really wanted to bring back a version of a Lincoln City Half Marathon that was, as the name says, I know it's kind of our name as well, but was in the city. So a city centre event which celebrates not only the key landmarks I think we're all familiar with in Lincoln, the cathedral, the castle, but also some of the wonderful green spaces we have, some of the fab residential communities there are that hopefully are going to come out and support the event, and really just showcase the city, but also offer that sort of aspirational platform for people in Lincoln and beyond to train towards an event. And, whether it's a personal goal or a fundraising goal or whatever it is, that's kind of the ethos of our event.
Well explained.
Awesome.
I feel like you should do all these things from now on. You did it better than I did, which brings me on to my next question. This is where I've failed in the past. We do have a 3 hills challenge in this race, don't we? Now, for those of you that are Lincoln based,
Whoa, 3 hills? It's Lincolnshire.
Yeah, that's right. We've got hills in Lincolnshire and they're all in Lincoln. We took all the hills that you could have had and then banged them all in Lincoln just for fun. So which 3 hills are they, and how tricky are they for someone who's maybe not really particularly started their running training?
So yes, there is the 3 hill challenge. So that will see runners complete Carline Road, a section of, 2 sections to include Yarborough Road, or Yarborough Hill as I think locally it's known, and Longleys Road. So there are 3 hills. So they are closely located if you look at it on a map, but you do get lots of sort of gap between. And I personally think running hills is quite rewarding. So yes, it's a challenge. It's always going to be a challenge than running on a nice piece of flat tarmac. But when you get to the top, there's probably a moment where you feel like you hate yourself because it feels so hard. But then you're so proud when you've done that. And then you go uphill, you got to go down as well. So then you get that lovely downhill where you find your legs again, you get your breath back, you get energy back. And, I belong to a running club and we do hills quite often in our training. And, people start off and you can soon build up confidence and running on hills if you incorporate them into your training, and I wouldn't say don't approach the event having never ran up a hill because you might find it a bit daunting, but there's lots of time between now to practice, even if you just practice walking up them to begin with, just to get that technique and that just keep moving up a hill there. And I think, hill running, I actually quite enjoy the challenge of it and not to be scared of it. And I say to people, when you're out walking or driving and you say to someone, I've run up that hill, everyone's like, wow, you run up that hill. It really gives you a sense of kudos as well.
It's about halfway round on the route, isn't it? So we sort of come out way. So start point is Booton Park, so head by way of a bit of a detour into the city centre, then do the hills, then you finish sort of the last section back towards Booton Park again in Lincoln. So it's about the halfway point. And so there'll be a nice sort of aid station at the end of doing the 3 hills challenge. Oh, you'll need it.
Well-earned water and some fuel if needed.
So final question for me really, and that's from people that are sat at home and that maybe they've done Couch to 5k, but that's maybe about it. This is obviously a good time to set your goal for that point because everyone's making resolutions all over the spot. What would you say to anyone who's thinking, actually I might pop it in and train? Where do they need to start?
I think the fact, even if you've done a Couch to 5k, you're getting more confident on your running journey, that's great. Even if you haven't even started running yet, or you think, not sure. I think now you've got plenty of time. I think that's my thing is, we're January now. We've got 9 months until the event takes place on the Sunday, the 18th of September. And, that's plenty of time to build up towards. I think the worst thing someone could do is enter it now and panic and think, oh my gosh, I've got to try and get ready to run a half hour in September, and try and push yourself too much too soon, whether it's running every day or trying to do up your distance that you're covering on each run, or getting quicker too soon, you'll just end up injured or not enjoying it as well. I think you're constantly pushing yourself and not giving yourself that recovery and that reward. So if you enter in now, you've got plenty of time to gradually build up your training. Maybe set yourself some smaller goals in between, whether it is to do the Couch to 5K program or head down to your local park run and get that weekly kind of 5K in, and maybe enter a race, or even in between now and then, whether it's a 10K, or it doesn't have to be a race. It could just be, I'm going to try and be able to run 10K by X month. Set yourself some small targets along the way to break it down, and get your goal in that way. The worst thing anyone could do is panic, enter it, and then think, oh my goodness, I've not signed up for a half marathon, I need to go out and run 10 miles tomorrow, because you'll probably not going to do that, but also you'll only end up not enjoying running and injuring yourself.
Good advice. Good advice, Alice.
Yeah.
So, Alice, are you actually running it yourself then? Are you going to be running this?
Well, I'd like to run it, but I think I will be working on the day. So obviously my role at the foundation, and also when I actually want to almost be able to stand back on the day and watch the event unfold after spending lots of time working and planning it and bringing it to life. I think that satisfaction of seeing it actually, that start go given, people set off, so someone finishes, I'll be like, oh, we've made it happen, and it will just be that kind of that satisfaction. And obviously we want to make this annual event, so it'll happen year on year. Not to say I won't do it at some point in the year in the future, but I think our first year it will be a case of watching back and feeling that sense of pride, I think.
Yeah,
it will be a sense of pride with the amount of stop and start that we've unfortunately had.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. So this is, although it is the first time that Lincoln City Foundation are running this event, no pun intended.
All the puns intended.
I think that this is probably. How many times has it been postponed? How many times have we were going to do it and then it's not happened? And do you want to just talk us through these trials and tribulations? And if there's anybody out there that's worried about, oh, well, I did sign up originally, what has happened to their application? Yeah, so we started, probably the initial idea for this sort of developed during 2019, which probably for all of us feels like an eternity ago now, based on the last 2 years. I think we announced bringing the event to Lincoln in 2019 with the idea of holding it in 2020. So obviously we all know 2020 didn't quite go to plan in anyone's lives in any sense of the world. So obviously we unfortunately had to postpone the event in 2020, which is obviously the right thing to do looking back, but definitely a difficult decision to make especially when you're so excited about bringing something to the city and you've put a lot of time and energy into it for that initial year to be like, oh, we can't do it. So we postponed to 2021, and then Again, we've all lived through it. We all know 2021 start of the year was very uncertain. Again, I think we were in lockdown at this point last year, weren't we? Or some sort of crazy tier system. And we had to make a call early on about, well, were we going to host the event again, or we had no idea what the world would look like. So again, we made a decision early on to postpone again, which was difficult. It was probably even more challenging this time to make a decision because it was kind of based on our best judgment rather than any sort of clear facts saying, yes, you must not run this event. But we didn't want people to, I'm a runner myself. I'd entered many events and had my hopes built up that was taking place for it to be cancelled like a few days or weeks beforehand. And you just think, so we made the decision to postpone in 2021, but 2022, it is happening. So if you entered way back in 2020 or 2019, whenever we opened entries, I can't quite remember now, and you haven't done anything with your entry, you're still entered. That's it. If you requested a refund or asked to be transferred to another, I know Curly's offered very helpfully offered the option to transfer your entry to a different event as well of theirs. That's obviously you no longer have your Lincoln event. But if you have done nothing since entering, you've still got your place, and we very much look forward to welcoming you on the start line. Fantastic.
Cool. I was going to ask you a question, Alice. So, do you know, obviously when you're running, it's hard to motivate yourself when you run by yourself. Yep. And you've mentioned about a running group that you maybe go to. Can you, say to people, from your experience, what running groups are out there, in Lincoln or in Lincolnshire area that people can like access prior to the event?
Yeah. They say I belong to a running club, and I have to say that running with other people is a really great motivation, and it also makes it more enjoyable. Like whether you're in a formalised club, there's lots in the city of Lincoln. So I belong to one club, and there's lots in sort of other. There's all popping up all over the place in some of the smaller villages around the outside the city and across Lincolnshire. Or whether or not you just want to run with other friends who maybe have also entered the same event as you or trained towards something. But it gives you that kind of accountability to be like, oh yeah, no, we're training tonight at 6:30. I'm going to be there. I'm going to finish work. I'm going to make sure that I've done my shopping in time or whatever. Because especially if you agree to meet, say, a club member or a friend for a run, you think, oh, I can't let them down. You know, I've said I'm going to meet them at silly o'clock on Sunday to go for a run before I must be there. I can't let them down. And so there's that level of accountability, that kind of going through a shared journey together. You know, I've trained for some events with people before, and you know, you kind of go through the challenges together. So you're thinking, oh, I'm really struggling this week. It's really tough, the training. Oh, so am I. You know, what can we do to make it easier? You know, maybe we should look at X, Y, and Z, and the friendships you get as well. You know, I always say when you go running, you're sometimes out with somebody for quite a length of time, and it's just you and them talking. How often do you get that in life these days, where it's just you and a friend being able to talk with no interruptions, just out? But instead of maybe sitting across a coffee, you're just running along some pavement somewhere. And it says I've had made some really good friends through running. You know, and you get to some time, like an hour or maybe more to yourself, just to chat, and it's really nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Alice, obviously in the foundation we talk a lot about physical, social and mental well-being, and you've covered quite a little bit about the social well-being, but how about mentally? Like, how does running actually affect your mental well-being?
Yeah, I think it's quite personable, that's the word, isn't it? Personal is different people, but definitely the mental benefits of running are well reported. For me, I always say it's a bit like meditation. Like if I'm not running with somebody, obviously I'm not chatting away, but I kind of switch off from the world, what's going on. I don't think about anything really. It's kind of an hour or whatever, 20 minutes, 30 minutes just for me, just to get away from life and just sort of, disconnect from things, especially if you're out running somewhere lovely in nature or whatever. It's a really good switch off. I know for some people it's really good for, like at the start of the day, early morning, getting them up, clearing their head, ready for the day ahead. Or likewise, if it's a stressful day, thinking, right, I'm going out for a run just to let off some steam and go at that. And there's something about, I guess, running is that it's quite freeing in that maybe unlike some sports activities, you don't really need a lot to do it. A good pair of trainers I do definitely recommend, but some trainers and you're quite, long. You can go out and run pretty much anywhere, anytime. If you haven't got to be holding to, I've got to go to it at XYZ time, and obviously unless you join a club, it's quite freeing. So you can sort of adapt it around your daytime, especially now we're in this sort of way of flexible working. You might think, I just need to get out for some fresh air at lunchtime whilst I'm working from home. I'm going to put my trainers on and go for 20 minutes around the block, and you come back and you feel refreshed, you feel energized. And there's lots of people report how running has massively impacted their mental well-being.
Fantastic. Which brings us on quite nicely to we are asking people who do run it and the marathon, that a lot of people like to fundraise while they run, especially if it's a big challenge to them, if they've not really run before. And we're asking people if they can to fundraise for Lincoln City Foundation for our Team Talk project, which is obviously something that you are very heavily involved in yourself, Alice. So just as a quick heads up, anyone who's actually thinking of running for this project, what can that money go towards?
Yes, so anyone who obviously very, very thankfully fundraisers for the foundation, the funds will go towards Team Talk, which is our male mental health program. So we have a couple of strands of that, I suppose, as we touched on, a physical activity strand and also a peer-to-peer support strand. So through that peer-to-peer support strand, we partner with an organisation called Andy's Man Club, who are also a charity, and they host sessions on a Monday night between 7 and 9 p.m. in numerous locations across the county. And we're really proud to host one here at the NER Stadium, where men can come along and just have and talk to each other. And they're really powerful sessions. And so those that fundraise just help to make something like that session happen, give us the space to be able to facilitate that. And so we also have physical activity strands, as we've just touched on. The benefits of being active on not just your physical health, but your mental health are just so important. So we have a couple of sessions where men can come along, join with like-minded people and just have a sociable kickabout. So we have a community football session in the daytime, and an after work kickabout session. And we'd love to add more strands to this as well, so we're being more inclusive of other people's interests. And again, funding that we can get can help make these sessions happen and make them accessible to men, to know they've got somewhere they can go along, talk to people, reach out if they need further help.
Fantastic. So there's never been a better reason to enter today. So to cap this off, if anyone wants to know how to enter the race, where they need to go, how much it is, all that kind of stuff, here's your elevator pitch. Go, Alice.
Oh, elevator pitch. Oh, well, our easiest place to direct you to is our Lincoln City Half Marathon website. So we have a website there, www.lincolncityhalfmarathon.co.uk. On there, you'll see a nice breakdown of the route, some great graphics that the foundation team have put together around it, more further information about the event, information if you want to sign up and fundraise for us and support our Team Talk project, and obviously the all-important Enter Now button, which means you can sign up through the event and grab yourself a place.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Alice. Thank you for being part of our podcast today, and for obviously inevitably raising our listener figures when word gets out.
It was lovely to hear from Alice. Not that we don't hear from her on a regular basis anyway, because we work with her. But for all the purposes of that interview, we acted like we didn't know anything about Alice and the Lincoln City Half Marathon.
I think we pulled it off. Which is actually very different of us.
Yeah, she did very well. So well done to Alice, and we'll definitely all give you a pat on the back. Well, we won't, because social distancing and COVID, we won't come near you, but well done, Alice. On to our next feature, over to Wellbeing Will.
Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year. Happy New Year, 2022. So, little wellbeing tip. I was thinking about this the other day, and like you could go for basic ones like drink enough water, get outside, very, very basic. I was thinking I think people should. I heard this the other day because I was at a session and we talk about New Year's resolutions, and he said he's keeping a journal like every week, and he's writing down 2 things that he's grateful for each week and 2 things that went well each week. So then he's keeping like a log of what of positivity each week. So I think that's like, I thought, not only am I going to nick that idea, but
we're full of stealing ideas this week, Will.
Not only am I going to take that, but I was like, I agree with what you're saying, actually. I really liked it. So keeping a journal, but like only you seeing the journal. So it's like personal to you, and you writing down what you think, not what you should be writing. Do you know what I mean? So like whatever you think in your head, you kind of write it down, and then it's a good way of like keeping your like mentally like well, I guess. And like I think if you've had a bit of a tough week, it's always hard to think what went well in that week because you're in a negative mindset. But if you could think of just like 1 or 2 things that went well, it kind of can help turn things around. Do you know what I mean? So and 2 things that you're grateful for, I think that's goes a long way as well. Like if you're just humble, and like it can breed contentment, I think, if you're grateful. So
absolutely. And for the stationery lovers out there are actually some beautiful stationery that you can get to that in mind. So I have me and Hannah are super stationery lovers. I actually have a book, and it's called The 6-Minute Journal, which is quite similar to that, which I had started to do, but I stopped doing it when the pandemic hit because I just wasn't in that mindset. But it's really, really good. And you start off the day by saying 3 things that you're grateful for in it, and then 3 things that you want to achieve, and then you start off and then you finish the day. So you're supposed to spend like 6 minutes a day. It's like 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes at night. And it's basically like a reflection of your day. Things you want to achieve, like for your well-being, like make sure I, sit down and eat dinner away from my desk or something like that you might want to do. And then you finish it up, like you have a few like a minute at the end of the day to say like 3 things that you're really proud of for yourself today, or something like that. So it's really, really good, and it's really interesting to go back, like after you keep going up, to fall back and be like, I remember that, like, that's really good. And it sort of does teach you to be in that mindset every morning, to like wake up and think like, what am I grateful for this morning? And like, because I'd start off and I'd put things like I'm grateful that my kids are happy this morning. I'm grateful that I managed to get out the door with limited fuss.
Yeah, little things.
And you just start to appreciate those little things like that that you wouldn't really think about before, because it's really easy to focus on that negative stuff, isn't it? So it's really easy to be like, you might have got out the door with limited fuss, but you might be busy thinking about, I was in traffic. And then you forget about like the fact that the other bit was like easy for once, and so it was really genuinely quite helpful. So yeah, either get a piece of scrappy paper or your notebook, or do it like that, or if you're a stationery lover like me and Hannah, then do search around and find one of these nice beautifully printed ones. Get a nice pen.
Absolutely.
That makes you feel happy around it. Get a new book and a new pen that writes like really nice. Like,
I was just going to say that. Like, if you find a pen that writes really smooth and it's really nice to use, that to me is the pinnacle of mental well-being. Having a smooth pen.
Oh, there is nothing that makes me happier than opening a nice crisp new notebook and having a nice new like set of fine liners to write into it, like a new like me and you, Hannah, bought each other new diaries for Christmas, because we are fellow stationery geeks, and literally the day I saved it for the first day back at work, and I opened it up and I was like, I'll write my name in it in this colour, and I'll do this, I'll put these. It made me so happy.
It even smells new though, doesn't it? Like when you, get that smell of newness.
Crisp.
You know what I mean? It's
I just love it, and that's why I do actually quite like January for that reason, because it's always a new planner book, it's a new calendar. Like I just get a lot of happy hits in January for that reason.
New pictures on your calendar. It's like, what have I got on my birthday? You know, you get like the dog calendar. You're like, what dog have I got in September? Oh my God. And then you're disappointed because I didn't want that breed. You know?
Always. I never get the thing I want on my birthday.
No, I know. Mine's always a month before. I'm like, God's sake, why can you give birth to me on a month before in August? Yeah. And it would have been in a different year group, so, you know, if I was...
Oh, no, it's quite good being the oldest in the year, actually, I think. My kids are August kids, and I'm always getting like, it matters when they're younger. It doesn't really matter so much when they're older, but when they're younger, it matters, because like they're always like slightly behind in like loads of stuff that they're always trying to catch up on, because there is a big gap when they're like little, just from like maturity wise. And then also when you hit the age of like 18 and stuff like that, all your friends are like getting old enough to go out and about in the pubs, and you still having to sit there and wait.
But if you're the first one to turn 18, you haven't got any mates to go out with, because none of them have turned 18. So.
Yeah, but you do get invited to everyone's going forward. When you're in August, you have to wait, and you're also last to drive, last to do all that kind of stuff. So, you know, there are highs and lows. I guess if you're last to drive, you get lifts everywhere. So there is that. But
that's well. Me and Will are both early year birthdays, aren't we? We're both oldest in the years, aren't we?
We are indeed.
Well, May, and kids are all May.
So you're the blood sucking lift needer, and we're the we can go out and drinkers.
Yeah, you've got your freedom much sooner than me, and it was hard. It was hard work watching everyone be like, go in college, going off with their car while I'm still taking the bus like a fool.
Yeah, but me and Will were sat at pub on us own.
Yeah. So I was thinking, so when's your birthday? Yeah. I need a mate. Yeah.
Yeah, just going around common room. Anybody's birthday in September or October, please.
Yeah. Anybody's birthday this year? Nah, next year. Okay.
Hey, your age is nothing why you were sat in a pub alone. It was your personality.
Oh, yes.
Horrible person. We're supposed to end on a positive, Elizabeth.
Oh, quick, let's find a positive.
The positive is that we're all friends now.
We are all friends now. We can all drive and go where we want to do. Our freedom has been gotten, and with that, we have to pay tax and insurance. It's still not positive. Look at it. Bring it back down to
not
positive. Oh, it's a roundabout here in the Buzzcast today. The positive is we've had a wonderful interview with Alice, and we're all very inspired to go out there, set a new goal for ourselves, and do something amazing. And hopefully, for you guys, that goal will be to run the Lincoln City Half Marathon. In which, if that's the case, we'll see you on the start line. Because, well, me and Will work, because we probably will be working.
Yes, we will. So. Yes, we will. I'll see you there.
Give us a wave.
Absolutely.
This podcast was brought to you by Lincoln City Foundation.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.
If you have any content or you want to get involved in our shenanigans and be a guest, why not email us at marketing@lincolncityfoundation.co.uk.